The next part of the training after watching the videos is to answer some discussion questions in groups. In the in-person training, we went to 3 different stations in our assigned groups and discussed these questions together. And there are different questions at each of the different stations. For the training that you're making up on your own, we have these questions posted in a discussion post. But there are 3 different discussion posts to kind of mimic the 3 different stations. So I will go ahead and show you what these questions look like though, and we can kind of talk through them for a minute. So station 1 or discussion post 1, understanding the ADHD experience. So question 1, which ADHD symptoms described in the video would be invisible to a tutor during a session? And then part A, which ones might be misinterpreted as disinterest, lack of preparation, or disengagement? So this is asking you to think about students that you may have worked with or how these ADHD symptoms might present in a student when you're working with them in a tutoring session. Question 2. The video explains that ADHD is a spectrum. Part A. Why is it risky for tutors to expect all students with ADHD to struggle in the same ways? So that question is related to ADHD being a spectrum. Keep that word in mind when answering part A. Station 2 or discussion post 2, ADHD symptoms that show up in tutoring sessions. Question 5. Based on the video, how might time blindness show up in tutoring sessions? And then it gives you some specific scenarios to think about in a tutoring session where time blindness may appear. So how could that show up in arrival times, during pacing during a session? Or maybe part C, it says managing deadlines discussed in tutoring. So if time blindness is something that a student struggles with, how might that show up in those 3 areas? Question 6. The video describes task initiation difficulty as knowing what to do, but being unable to start. Part A, how might this appear when a student brings an assignment to tutoring? And part B, what wrong assumptions might a tutor make if they don't understand this symptom? So 2 more questions to think about with task initiation difficulty and tutoring a student who might struggle with that. Station 3 or discussion post 3, emotional and social factors tutors need to watch for. Question 9. The video discusses emotional dysregulation. Part A. How might emotional intensity show up during a tutoring session? Part B. How should a tutor respond when a student becomes frustrated, overwhelmed, or shuts down? And then question 10. Rejection sensitive dysphoria, or RSD, is described as intense pain around criticism. Part A. How could typical tutoring behaviors, like correcting errors or asking probing questions, unintentionally trigger RSD? And part B, what language choices might help reduce perceived judgment? So again, thinking about how you as a tutor, how you act, how you interact with students, the things that you say, the language that you use, how that might be perceived by a student who has some of these ADHD symptoms. Okay, great. So take some time and reflect on these questions and post your answers in the discussion posts. Feel free to go back and rewatch any parts of the videos that you may want to revisit or go back and look at your notes. And also feel free to respond to any of your fellow tutors in the discussion posts. This is a time to reply to each other and have a free and open conversation and learn from each other, especially in some of these questions like how might a tutor respond when this happens? A lot of times you are able to give each other a lot of good advice and you really learn from each other well. So that's a valuable tool that I don't want to take away from you. And I want you to really feel like you can share with each other during that discussion post time. The last part of the training is our exit ticket to show what you have come away with after watching these videos and reflecting on these questions. So for our in-person training, we had 3 different post-it notes. I'm just going to post this as 3 different fill in the blanks for you on Canvas. The first one says, one ADHD symptom I understand better now is blank because blank. So you understand this symptom better because of this thing or because of this reason. The second exit ticket or the second fill in the blank. One thing I will stop assuming about students with ADHD is blank. And then the last one small change I can make in my tutoring approach is, and then fill in that blank. So when you have a good idea of what you want to say for all of those, you can go ahead and fill those in as your exit ticket in Canvas, and that is your assessment for this training. Thank you very much.